In fact, everything will be so easy in any of the analytic platform you are using. Talk of Tableau, talk of Power BI. The processing time will be so very, very limited, such that you will not be having any problem. So that is one major function of your join in SQL. But we have different type of this join, and you need to realize the one you are using at every point in time. The first one is inner join. What inner join does is that it will only bring out results for things that are in both table. Things that are in both table. For instance, if we are looking at this other table now, and we are using inner join of this country to the location table we have here, it's only things that are here that will come up, which is fine for us, which is actually fine for us. In the real sense of data analytic, that is how it ought to be, because there shouldn't be a situation whereby something ID will be here and it will not be in your location. In that case, there is issue. So that is that about that. And the other type of join is, the other type of join is our left join. Left join is simply saying that when we get to the point of writing our code, you will see all those things I'm talking about. It's simply saying that you can, like, we are looking at this other table and this location table, right? So left join is saying that give me everything here. Everything here must come out. And now show me the match with this table. So in this situation, if we are using left join, what we'll be basically having is that anything here that is not here, in the merge that we are doing, in the join that we are doing, the result will now be showing us none. We'll be having none for anything here that is not here. So in the real sense, this is the best practice. So that there won't be a situation whereby you'll be losing any of your data. If you are using this now and you have something here and it's not here, the other record will be automatically erased when you join the two tables together. So we need to understand that that is left join. That's left join. In similar way, right join. Right join is just simply that, okay, whatever is in the other table, in the table, for instance, everything in this customer table, everything in this customer table that has to do with this week should come out. And if it's not found in the other table, it should come as none. So we're trying to use all these things. I don't want us to be doing a lot of story tonight. Let us just go to business straight away. Now, these are the tables we have. We have other table. We have other table. We have customers table. We have locations table. And the last table we have here is products table. So I just want to quickly run through it for us to see. These are customer table. These are location table. And mind you, all these tables are related together. These are all what we have treated in this boot camp. These are all what we have treated. So I created the table. They are related to each other. This is the other table. And you can see that is related to this customer table. And what we have here is one-to-many relationship. One-to-many relationship. You can see one, many. Even what is the meaning of one-to-many? It's saying that one customer can have one or more order. So it can have one or more order. So that is one-to-many. And even products, you can have more than one or more products in your order table, and the location, you can have one or more location in your order table. So that's just the relationship, the meaning of one-to-many relationship, one-to-many relationship, and one-to-many relationship. Yeah. So all these things are just code that we have been written before. And if you want to get this also, I would advise you check our what's it called, the first session we had. I wrote all this code yesterday thinking we'll be having this class. So by the time I realized that the classes will not be holding, I slipped my system, but I didn't know when I shut it down. So I lost all the code. So I may not be able to supply you all that. And if need be, I may write them again and give them to you later. But let's move on with what we have for today. So we have all this table, and as I have mentioned before, I just want us to go through the real practical aspect of it. We have inner join. Inner join would simply bring what is common in both sides. We have left join. So I'll be using left join and inner join for this purpose, and let's see what we'll be having now. So the process is simple. What you simply need to do is, let's come here, is to use your select syntax, select, and as usual, asterisk. Let's just do asterisk, select asterisk, which is select all from others. So what this one will be doing now is to give us just exactly what we have in the other table, right? And in this case, I don't want all this everything to come out. I only want to select some particular cell column. So in that case, I will simply just be using this. Let me copy it. What I'm doing there is simply naming those columns, and I will break it down for clarification. Let me just break them down to different lines. Okay, let me bring this from here. So you don't need this here yet. You don't need that yet. Okay. I'll be explaining the reason why I removed that zero O at the back. I will be explaining all that later, but let's get the logic first. We have customer ID, we have country ID, product IDs, FID. So let's run this and see what we get. We should be getting the same thing. We are getting the same thing, but let me remove customer ID here. Customer ID. Let us run it again. We are good now. In this case now, we are now having customer ID. So I'm just trying to do a little recap for us. Now we don't have customer ID yet, but we need this. Instead of customer ID, we are looking towards having a situation whereby we just bring the customer name and the segment directly. Customer name and this segment directly join to this table. So how do we do that? To do that, we can use either inner join or left join. But don't forget, I told you, when you use inner join, anything that is in this table that is not in the other table will not be located. So, but it's not a good practice in data analytics. So it's always advisable we use left join. So when we use left join, we can always see, okay, why do we have this one and we don't have it here? We'll be seeing all that in a very soon now. So having done this, the next thing we need to do now is to now then come up with our left join syntax. You write it like this, left join. It will come after from. but this order we have to be here. Select from order. You are selecting all this from order. You now create a sentence called left join. And what do you then now need to do? Left join, you call out the table that you want to join. Very, very important. So you now call out customer. Sorry, let me just type it in small letter as we have it. Customers is the name of the table. Customer is the name of the table. On what are we doing? On now, if we are using this now, let me just type in capital letter. I always like it that way. If we are using this now, ordinarily to continue this process, we may need to copy this customer again, paste. We now do customer dot customer ID. Now, what are we trying to do here? If you recollect, when we started this training, we talked about keys in our table. We have primary key, we have foreign key. Now, for this other table, customer ID in this other table, let me run order. This is what I want. Let me run other table. So I want us to be seeing everything. Customer table, customer ID here is a foreign key. Is a foreign key to this customer ID in your customer table. So this is what relates to, this is what relates to this customer ID here. If you look at our entity relationship diagram, let me quickly show you that again. Entity relationship diagram, you will see that the relationship here is, this is our primary key here, customer ID, and is relating to this foreign key. You can see it relating to this foreign key. Let me bring this one down here. I don't know why it's crossing me shoulder, but just get the logic. Now this is, you can see this is for the customer table, and it's linking up with what? With the customer ID here. So the relationship between this table is this customer ID relating to this table, and is the primary key here, while in this case is acting as a foreign key. So before you can join, you must already establish a relationship between the two tables, which is what we did in our first class when we created reference while creating our columns in our table. Let's get that straight away. Now, because we have a relationship between the table, we can easily say, okay, we want to join customer ID on, we want to join this customer on what? Customer ID, customer.customer ID equals to orders dot customer ID. So with this, we've been able to establish a relationship within this table. Like, okay, look into when we have this kind of relationship where customer ID is equals to customer ID in my customer ID. Bring everything that has to do with customer with that particular customer ID out for me. Let us test this and see what we get. I intentionally just want to run it like this. We are still having what we had before, but this time around, to bring out the information that has to do with this customer table here, what do we do? Let us just come in and have something like this, comma. You have to now then write customer dot customer, what do we have here? Customer name. So we are saying that based on this relationship, give me customer name. For us to have clarification, I would still like to just bring my customer ID here. Now there will be a problem with this customer ID. I don't want us to run into that error now. I'll be explaining that. But before then, let's run this code. Now, we now have this here now. You can see the customer name here. You can see the customer name here. Don't forget the goal. Imagine this table is about 1 million rows. This will save you a lot while analyzing this data. You already have the customer name on this table. So as a matter of fact, you may not even need to, you don't even need to import all these other tables to your Power BI platform or your analytic platform. So in this case, you are just importing just one table to your analytic platform. And with that, it makes your work easier and it makes your dashboard more faster. So it's very, very important for us to know this. You can see now that we have this customer table. Now, one thing that I want us to know is that looking at this thing here, my code here is looking too clumsy. So we can alias these table names that we have here. For instance, these customers here, which is the table, we can just alias it as C. So instead of me typing customers here, I can just type C dot this, and at the top here, I can come here also and put C dot that. So let's run. You can see that we are still having the same thing. It's still coming out. So I'm making the code more tidy than the way it was before. I can also alias this my other table dot. I can just come here and space it and put O in front. So it has the alias as O in this case now. So now I know I did mention something the other time. If I come here, you realize that everything is working for these other columns on this table because the computer understands this. But in a situation whereby we just come here, we type customer ID, there will be a conflict. There will be a conflict. You can see now, the conflict is that you mention customer ID. Which one do you want me to bring out? Because we have customer ID. We have customer ID on the other table. We have customer ID in this customer table itself. So in this situation, the computer is confused as to what you are doing. So for now that we've aliased this order as O here, we can just come here now and just put E0.this. So this is telling us that the customer ID I'm requesting for is the one that is for this other table. If we run this code now, we will not be having issue again. Sorry, why is it not seeing it from, let me put as here as O. Let's run it. Sorry. Okay.
Order.
Now
the other customer ID.
Yes, I can see now. We in this place, I am using others here, and I've already aliased the name here as O. So I need to change this one to O. So if we run this now, I think we should not be having any problem again. And now you can see we have customer ID that was on the table before, and the customer name here as it is. Now the next thing I want to add to this table is segments. We are bringing that segment column from our customer table segments. Let's run this again. Sorry, what's happening is not a recognized name. Segments. Segment is not segget. Segments. You can see now, our segment is also here again in a single table. You can see how interesting it is. Now, if you are to import this on Power BI, you can look away. You may not even think of this customer table. You may, and as the case may be, some organization, in organization I worked with, in this customer, we have about, let's say, 400,000 customers. You can imagine me just neglecting this in my Power BI environment. I've reduced the load on my dashboard already. And with that, my dashboard will be more faster. So with this, I can just look away and just forget about customer table while going to my Power BI environment. And what do we use? We use left join. We use left join for this purpose. And you can see that it's very, very easy. It's very, very easy. Very, very easy. Now, we could move furthermore to do for products, and it's still the same process. You just come down and type left join. Don't forget, the reason why I'm using left join is that I don't want to alter this other table. This other table is the organization data itself. No any organization jokes with their other table. So it must be intact like this. In fact, the way the record is, they want to see it every time. So whatever analysis you are doing is to complement it. So if I'm using inner join, I'm saying that whatever is not here should be deleted. So it's just what appears on both sides. So, but it's good for us to have this other table intact. So for instance, for this customer ID now, if this customer name, anywhere we are having none, we can then say that where does this customer comes from? And with that, we can then be looking into, is there anything wrong with the data or is there any problem anywhere? So it's very, very important for us to know that. The next thing we would want to look into is products, right? Products, let's join products. And we can alias product as P. And then we then say on P dot what? P dot what? So let's check our entity relationship diagram. We have our product here. We have product ID relating to product ID here also. So what do we do now? Let's go back to our code. We said P dot product underscore ID is equals to O dot, you remember we already alias our other table as O here. O dot product ID again here. So we already linked these two tables together once again. So what can we do now is let's check our product table. What are the stuff we have there that we want to call out? I think we can call out our category and subcategory. Category and subcategory. Let's go back to our code. By now, you should know that this product ID will not run on this code again because it will be conflicting each other, because we have it here and we have it in this other one. So if we really need it, we need to alias it as 0.product ID. So we can do that for that. And let me bring the two columns from the table down here. So we have these two columns now from our product table. This subcategory, I use underscore while bringing it down here. So now our product is P, right? So let's alias P dot category, P dot subcategory. Can we run this code and see what we get? Okay, there is need for me to put a comma here. Also, let's run this code and see what we get. Yeah, is it not interesting now? We now have our category here also. We have our subcategory here. I am just putting this product ID here for it to be easy to for us to understand, being the first time we are introducing you to this. So that's why I'm leaving it there. Ideally, I already know that I have information that I need for my product. So I may even just want to ignore the product ID column in this data set, as the case may be. So I don't need it. So what I need now is this category and subcategory. And now we may be having little problem in this case because category and subcategory looks abstract. So for us to have it more clearer, we can say, let's say, yeah, category. For those of you that are following us, you know how this works now. Products, you can say product category. We are aliasing this particular column. Let's check what we have. Now you can see now we have it here as product category in this. So easily you can know what each of these columns stands for. So aliasing is also very important when you are joining tables together for your column also. So we can alias this subcategory. So let's run this now and see. Sorry, is there anything wrong? Okay, I think the issue is that in the let's run it now. Yeah, we have it now. Yeah. So I think the dash character is not acceptable for the column. That's why it's not working. So I have to change it to underscore. We can see now that you have your columns here directly. And the next thing would also be looking into is we can also bring out our country in here. And don't forget the table that contains our country is locations. So, and we can alias it as L dot. So again, we need to look at what is the relationship between them. This is our location and what links both of them together. So it's country ID. Country ID links both of them together. So let's come back here. We can then say, yeah, country ID. Let me just copy it from here. Country ID. And in this place, we also have it as country ID. And like I did mention earlier on, you should know that this country ID will not run on this code again. So we need to alias, put the alias there. And what are the stuffs we have in our country, in our location table? We may be needing to look into state and country basically, and region, state, country, region. So let's quickly do that. L dot states, comma, L, let me bring this down so we can see our code at glance. L dot country, comma, L dot region. So having all this together, now we can run our code. So we have state here, we have country here, we have region. Ideally also, I could just decide to remove this, my country ID here. So let's run the code now again. So how good is this now? We now have three tables combined together. And don't forget, we are using left join. And the essence of using left join is that we use left join to ensure that every information in our normal table, which is our first table, order table, this table here, is the one on left, while this one is on right. So I think that's just the logic. So we want everything on this left to still remain intact, and now relate it with the new table that we are bringing in. And for this purpose, I think basically, most especially when it comes to data analytic, this is one major join tools that is very important. Every other one is also important. So I've been able to use this for you now. You can see that we have joined three tables together. We've joined three tables together, and this is the results we are having here. These are the results we are having here. I don't know if we have any question now. Do you have anybody with question? Hello.
Sorry, let me ask a question because I'm actually learning too. This one that we are doing left join twice, 3 times. Let me just simplify it. What are we trying to get? Like we join it first with customer ID, we join first with country ID and product ID. We are trying to get what, sir?
Yeah, like I did mention, I think I gave a scenario before I start doing this process. You can imagine this table we have here is about 1 or 2 million rows. This other table for a particular organization, and you need to import this table to your, let's say, your Power BI environment. And in doing that, you would also need to import all these other tables together. So for effectiveness in your data analytic, I think I have experienced that severally, such that I think this was what I fall back to make my work easier. I designed a dashboard. The dashboard was good looking, nice, but when you want to, like, for instance, you apply a filter to the Power BI dashboard, it will take time to load, maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds before the whole dashboard load. This is a solution to it. This is a solution to it. When you simplify all your columns together like this, like you bring them together easily, it will run easily on your Power BI environment. So that is more reason why we are doing it. The essence is, we first of all relate a customer ID, customer table with the order table. Then we move on to the product table with the order table, and our location table with the order table. So with that, we've been able to combine the major columns or the major things that we need for our data, to analyze our data, bringing them together into one table for analysis. So I think that's just the reason why we are joining the three tables together with the other table. Is there any other person with question? I think one major question I should be expecting is, why is it that we are using just left join in this case? So we use left join because we still want everything in this other table to be intact. But for the sake of this class, we could just try and look into all these other functions. Let me see if we'll be able to get something tangible. Inner join. We may not be able to see it at glance because this other table is about 900 rows, and in a case whereby we have something omitted, we may not be able to get it. But let's just do it for you to know that this is how to do inner join. This is it. Inner join. Just change the left join to inner join. Like I did mention, see what will happen. It's only what appears in both sides that will come out in the report here. And I think most of the customer ID we have in our order table, they are also in our products, in our what's it called, customer ID table. And most of the product ID we have, they are also there. So let's just see what we would have. Probably we need to tweak the data to get some things. So in total here, we have 5,900 rows in this analysis here, but let's run it with inner join and see what we will get. It's still the same. So every of these what's it called? Every of these customer ID here, they are in your customer ID table. Every of this product ID here, they are in your product ID table. And every of this location, country ID here, they are also in your location table. So that's why we are having everything together. But in a situation whereby some of all these things are omitted, I think it's better for us to, let's just have a glimpse of that. Let's take, for instance, this is a customer table here. Let me open it here. And we have total number of this here. So let me just, from this place downward, let us just delete it. Let's delete it. Save, close. Let me import the new data here now. Customer, okay, customer table. What's happening? Let's check the problem here. These are some of the problems you may be having already exist. Sorry, I need to come back here. I thought I've removed all duplicates here. Let me just confirm. Okay, we have it like this. Let's check, just use this thing here to remove duplicates. Sorry, we are behind schedule already. This was the reason why I want to. There's no duplicate. So what's happening? So let's go back again. Imports, customers. Same thing still happening here. What could be causing that? Could it be because we have a code running on the table, using the table already? Let me just run this location. Let me go back again. Imports, customers, this. Primary key, this already exists. Shouldn't be giving me that actually. Sorry, everybody. I'm just trying to come up with a scenario whereby we can see what is happening when we are doing our inner join. When we are using our inner join. Let's try and find this here. It's appearing one, so I don't know why it's saying that it's duplicate. Sorry, I don't know why this is not coming up. I don't know why it's not coming up. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know actually. I don't know actually. So let me just drop it here. If you have any question, let us hear from you. I knew this will take more than the actual time we have for the class. That is why I want us to have this class yesterday and today. But as the case may be, I think we've gotten the major things that we need to know here. Do you have anybody with question? Paul? While
No,
I
I don't have
still,
any question. Yeah, no
let me
question.
just still try
No
this
question.
again. Still not coming up.
I think I need to import it to a new database because
Yeah, I'm
that table have
suspecting
existed.
exactly. But
That's
in
what is
doing that
happening.
now, we need to start creating relationship again from
Yeah,
scratch,
yeah, exactly.
and that will
Exactly.
take time. That
So
will take
what we
time.
can just do for those that are interested, we can just have maybe one section, maybe next week or per week for those that are interested. So they can just reach
Yeah,
out.
but
So
they must
we
show,
send.
anybody interested must show interest. You understand? So it won't be
Yes,
like we'll
yes.
be
So fix
coming
a
and we'll
time.
not be
Yes, exactly. For those that want
uh,
to learn. Yeah,
if you are interested, you
because
can hit
that
four. So
yes.
what I will
So
do
we
then
can
is that
next
I will
section.
create more data scenario whereby we use inner join, we use the left join that we've used, so we can see the variance in all these things that we are talking about. But like I did mention, there is nothing different from what I've just mentioned. Left join, everything on the left, on this, your main table that you are working on will come out. And if it's not appearing on the second table, it will appear as none. But in this case, all the data we have here, and that is what should actually be in actual sense. That is what should actually be. If you are having a customer on your order, the customer must be on your customer table. And if you're having a product on your order, the product must also be in your order table, because a customer cannot order a product that you don't have record of in your system. And a country, a user cannot have a country that you don't have record of also in your system. So that is why we are having everything intact this way. But there are some scenarios whereby all these things are not, well, you may not have everything, how will I put it, that there are some scenarios whereby we have these omissions. This inner join will not give us the solution to that. It will just bring out everything that appears on both sides, But your left join will help us to identify when we have scenarios that are not the same. So that's all. For those that are interested in digging further, can please meet Paul so we can have just one session. And I think that's even outside this boot camp, because the boot camp is ending today officially. So do we still have anybody with question, or maybe on SQL or anything so far? Because we've not been able to touch
Let's
even
ask question if there's any that is not clear. So can use this one to recap, please. Let's be free any area that you are
and I
not
would
clear
say
with.
not necessarily on this topic. Do you have anything bothering you on SQL or so? So I can just give you.
So you can use this one to do recap like that. Let's ask question. No.
Okay, good evening. Hello.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we are with you.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for the time. Though I actually joined late, just because I've been on transit since yesterday, so I was busy with other stuff. But I have a question that I want to ask. Now, all of these things that we are trying to run, all of this code, is it that this is the way it's going to be appearing, or there's a way we are still going to export it that it will be like a normal file for everyone to actually access, or it is just going to be appearing like this, like a rough sketch? That is what I want to ask.
Yeah, two ways. Two ways. If on your Power BI platform, there is what we call direct query on your Power BI platform. In the process of you importing these things to your Power BI environment, right? You can have access to direct query. In that direct query, you can simply write this SQL query in your direct query there. So when you do that, instead of all these things coming as different table, you just be seeing this single table that you are having here. Are you getting it?
No, I'm confused though, because in Power BI, right, when you are trying to build your dashboard, at the end of the day, you discover that you have a kind of interface that it will be like an automated interface. Okay, if you need this, just click on this, click on that. But is it that you are trying to say that once we are done with our code here, right, we writing the when we are done writing the language, are we going to copy it and link it to Power BI? That is what I don't know. Or it is just going to be like this for anybody to view or review. How do we link this SQL to our Power BI?
Yeah, I am up to that now.
I think linking SQL to Power BI. Okay, you want to take it now, Abi?
Yeah, I just want to show him.
Okay. Because Mr. Sam, the video we did, the way we were doing get data, I showed us how we can connect, that Power BI can actually connect to multiple sources. If you remember this place, there when we started Power BI, we showed us this place. If you remember when we did Power
Yes,
BI
yes,
then.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
You can
so
connect to your SQL server directly.
so far,
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, please.
You can connect to your SQL server directly from here. And even apart from that, if you can connect to, if you are connected to some different let me just open it now. You can see my SQL database, all that. All this SQL database, when you click on it, two ways. You can see the table directly. You can see the table on the directly. And another way is that, I want to use a particular example for you. I think there is Postgres now. Postgres database. Connect. Sure, you can see all this thing now. If you click on this direct query, click on this advanced option, what do you see here? SQL statements, just that most people don't use it. So once you come here and you create all this relationship and you have a real connection to your database, to this database, you can write any query here and it will, the result you are seeing here is what will be appearing in your Power BI environment. And alternatively, what you can also do is, the reason why I want to be silent about that initially is that normally most engineers will not allow a what's it called, a data analyst to have access to their what's it called, their database environment, or as the case may be, data warehouse. But in my organizations, I was opportune to have access to our data warehouse. So, and I was able to create all these kind of queries there. And what you can do in that case, if you have access to it, is you can create a view. You understand? So what do you do is that you can come here, create, you can write create view. Create view. What do we now? Fact order. Create view. Facts order. Create view fact order table. As this. What you are simply doing is that you want to create a view. Let's run this now. This has been saved automatically. If you come to this view now, what can you see here? You can see fact order what? Table. So if you come here, let's try and run this and see what we get. Select from fact order table and run. What do you see now? Everything you created there is what you are seeing below here. Are you getting it? So two ways. You could go to your BI environment, whether Power BI or Tableau, write this query directly in your direct query to call out this information. Or alternatively, if you have access to your data warehouse environment, you can create a view by yourself in the data warehouse or in the database that your organization is using. You are not concerned with, these are the table, the organization table as it were. But what you are simply doing that you just create a view. But most data engineer will not allow you in this environment because number one, the warehouse as it were, they are trying to manage the size. So they will still not want you to come and add stuff to it. So those are the two scenarios whereby you can use all these things. You can see now that all the three tables are together and you just create them as a view and you have the results in here directly. I hope you are fine with that.
Yes, thank you so much.
So if you are going to your Power BI environment now and you connect to this platform, if you don't want to write this query, you can come to this view. You just pick this table, you see it as a table, and you go to Power Query environment and you start your analysis. It's just as simple as that. Any other person, you can see it's because he asked that question. That's why I could touch that aspect. There are lots to mention, but we could just focus on the important ones that we feel you all need. Don't forget, all those are query last week that we did last week are still useful here. We can just say, let's say, where where ship mode equals to, I think we need to quote it, SC, it will work. Can you see now? You are just seeing just SC data here. And this data, this thing as a tool also can even simplify your work. If you are working in an organization that, for instance, they don't need orders that are not complete, they only need you to analyze completed order. So what are you saying? You can just say where this is completed. So if you have 1 million orders before, and you just pick completed, with that you can even already like deleted up to like 300,000 rows. So this is just one aspect of data analysis that I think every data analyst must know. Is hard bone that you need to crack. So when you get to the river, you can swim. I got to the river before I know this. So you don't need to get there before you know this. Any other person, any other question, any other question, any other question?
Okay, I have a question. What
It
environment are you
seems
using
like
to run?
there's no question again.
I'm with you.
Are you trying to say something?
Someone
Okay,
is
it
with
seems
me.
like
Yeah,
there is
I'm asking
no question again. Okay.
a question. Yes,
Okay,
I
what's the
said
question? Sorry.
what environment are you using to run this SQL code? Like what IDE are you using?
Okay, Postgres.
PostgreSQL.
This Postgres SQL.
Okay.
PostgreSQL. You can see it at the top, by the right top. You can see the company sales Postgres or PostgreSQL. Yeah. We've shared the details about this via mail to previous time before this show. But you can see me, in case you need support, or now you can get started too, Sha. Yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
we'll be dropping the button here tonight. We thank everyone for joining the section, and we thank our facilitator for taking the SQL parts fully. Because I remember I was only taking on Excel and Power BI before, and I said, Paul, let's take people on SQL. That's very thoughtful of you, and I sincerely appreciate your heart to give back to your community and to impart life. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. We wish you all success in our future endeavor, future success. So we've learned about Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Let's make best use of it. The boot camp is not everything that we know to know about analytics, but just something to help us that at least if you're able to practice know this little that I've taught us effectively, we won't have any issue on the job. I can give us that guarantee. Yes, so let's apply for the job. Let's design our LinkedIn and all, right? So I wish you success. Till we meet next time. Yeah, take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Thank you.
Remember that there's going to be a special class, the one that we were talking about before now.
And Paul, please don't forget about LinkedIn. What do you call it again? Hello, Paul. Are you with me?
But people are not active now, so
Yeah,
if
Mark.
yeah.